Fancy managers, hello and welcome to the FPL Addicts podcast, Game Week 31 deadline stream, sponsored by Bonus Bank and powered by Esports Live. If you are new around here, make sure you give our podcast or video some love with a like, rating or review on podcast, as well as a subscribe. Hit that subscribe button below. Let's say good day. We are back. Me and Reedy are in the studio once again, dynamic duo. Reedy, how are you, mate? You good?
Going well, Jack, yeah. Business end of the season, I suppose, remaining 8 game weeks. Liverpool are actually winning games, so let's see what happens, mate. But I'm looking forward to the remainder of the season, and obviously with FPL as well, mate. But doing well, thanks, bud. And you?
Yeah, everything's good in Australia, mate. In Melbourne, very wet here today. Getting to the opposite side of the season for the season for us with rain, end of the Premier League. It's doom and gloom in Australia, but excited to be on the podcast today with you, mate, and ready to get through this deadline, find a few last minute moves, hopefully give some nonsense advice as per usual, what moves not to make, provided by Christopher Reed, yours truly. But yeah, super excited for this one. So let's get into it. Obviously, we're just going to preview game week 30. Sorry guys, we didn't make it onto game week 30 for the podcast. We're struggling with time here and there. Everyone knows how it goes, but me and Reedy are back for game week 31. If you want to get involved in the comments, what moves to make, listen, more than happy to offer our opinion. Take it or leave it, no problem. Good bit of banter going as well. And we're already up and running. Ihan's joined us. We'll jump into your question soon. And Miriam, so thanks for joining us. Reedy, let's get into obviously game week 30 and let's see if we get some takeaways from this. The results.
Sure, I'll add them in, mate.
You've got it in. Nice one, mate.
Got it there, ready.
Go for
it. So I think
start at the top.
It was the lunchtime kickoff, wasn't it? The early kickoff. And
never about the early kickoff, but listen, it looked all right, didn't it?
It went all right, didn't it? Your boys v Everton, and McTominay and Martial, two not so regular goal scorers for your lads, and you'll take that though. 2-0 win. Keeps you going in there, and I think it's one of those where it was always expected for United to win that, so it was probably a very, very comfortable and easy win. And I know it would have been 4-5, something like that. Yes,
it was. Listen, nice to get the early kickoff and watch it live. In Australia is always a difficult one for us, but 9:30 kickoff here it was. Joe was dead funny though. Like before the start of the game, I was thinking, we only had 3 shots on target against Brentford. I was like, this game's going to be, United aren't going to kind of turn up again and we're just going to have a couple of shots. So I was thinking under 20 for the game. And there you go, lo and behold, United 21 shots in the first half, Premier League kind of record, I think it was as well. And you're going, and we could have had 5 or 6 easily. It was just lacking that bit of quality. But Rashford could have had a couple, obviously. But McTominay and Martial stepping up in the second half, getting the goals. In the first half, like Rashford and Sancho getting the assists. Happy days. De Gea obviously picked out some important saves, but Pickford was on form. Listen, happy with the result, obviously. Second half, you're thinking, oh God, we're going to, flop and fold in that second half, but we made it through. And a good win for the Reds.
And that's it. And I think as well, another key thing was he kept the clean sheet. So, any fancy managers who've got De Gea, I know a few people have got him from
like myself.
Double. There we go. Exactly. The double in 29. So, that's a clean sheet there, really, if you're planning on keeping hold of him and starting him and so on. So, another team kind of that are racking up the wins, and they've got themselves in 6th position now, and that's Villa getting another on the
win. Villa. Talk to me about Villa, Reedy, because obviously game week 30, which we'll give a mention to you for this one. You pulled in 2 incredible transfers on game week 29 to bring in 2 assets for your bench boost week, Martinez and Mings. And Aston Villa are in unbelievable form, and you hold a huge hold with them too.
Yeah, I managed to get it again. I mean, we'll have a obviously quick look in a bit, but I mean that for me, those two transfers for 29 were just what can I say? Just the clean against Chelsea is what stole it, and Martinez and Mings. Obviously, we've got to mention Ollie Watkins, who's in goal scoring form as well. He managed to keep himself in the bonus in this game against Forest. I got 2 bonus points, even though we got a yellow. But yeah, Villa are flying. I mean, 2-0. He's got them in 6th, Unai Emery. He's got them playing better football. Lunchtime kickoff today. We've got against Newcastle, who are also in form. I mean, I'm hoping that game is a belter of a game. I'd hate to see it turn out to be like a 0-0 or something. But yeah, Villa are, they're in the mix at the moment, and who'd have thought?
Yeah, up the Villa. But yeah, nice clean sheet, as you said. Where else can we go here? So I mean, Newcastle with that away win against Brentford, huge result. Isaac getting the goals there. We're assisted by Wilson. Looks like they're actually combining quite nicely here, even though they're competing for that space in there. Obviously, Tony missed a pen but scored as well. A second pen. Is that first in 21, 22?
Something crazy. I mean, how often in a game do you get to get 2 pens? You miss one and you score the other. There's never any doubt with Brentford is that they're going to take it off him and put it onto someone else. He's been given the opportunity to redeem himself, and he's done it. But as you said about Isak, still looking really good. I mean, I don't think he started this game. It might have been Callum Wilson that got the start. Could be wrong on that one, but I'm sure it is a case where Isak come on and maybe scored with that one.
Find out,
it's But I mean, Raya was given an own goal there as well, so that's why it basically ended up as 2-1 with the Joelinton, or maybe it was actually Joelinton scored and then Wilson got the assist. So yeah,
Wilson came at a half time. That was it. Wilson came at a half time, but Isaac started.
Isaac started, right?
There we go. That's it. Yeah. And that was because they were playing kind of 2 up top, and combined well. Wilson, looking good in there. Joelinton's on fire again, but
exactly.
Really surprising everyone, isn't it? But moving on elsewhere, I think we can obviously mention great result for Bournemouth away at Leicester, who Leicester are just in absolute meltdown, and we'll touch on them more in that preview game for this game week. Spurs 2-1 against Brighton, which is a huge win. Obviously, it kicked off big time on the sideline there as well. But Kane and Son getting the goals on the score sheet.
Just like the old days, isn't it? Kane and Son,
combo,
Yeah, like you're right though. It did all kick off and all hell broke loose. Both managers getting the reds. Very controversial game from a VAR perspective. Brighton should have had a penalty for the Matoma foul, maybe even another penalty for a handball or something. There was a couple of fouls that went in there from Spurs players that were a bit naughty that got unpunished. It was just a bit of a shambles, to be honest, chaos in terms of VAR. Chaos, as you say. But yeah, Spurs got another win, which I think most people are expecting them at some point to just fade away, but they're still in the mix with the 4th place. So yeah, we'll see how it pans out with that one. But I mean, Harry Kane just carries on, doesn't he? Getting his goals. We'll have a look. Wolves, Chelsea. Now, I mean, what's your thoughts on Chelsea, Jack? I mean, obviously they've got beat. Frank's taken over. Lampard's in there.
Lost 2-2.
It just, doesn't look great, does it?
It don't look great in there. I'm not too sure. Obviously, he knows a lot of the players, doesn't he? Very familiar with a lot of them. Obviously, he coached, but then there's a lot of new players handling there. I'm sure he's going to try and rely on the experience of a lot of them players who've been there a longer time, or obviously a bit older. Obviously, Sterling came back to the team. Listen, what can you do? He's got a big job, low in confidence, that team as well. Any moves from there, FPL wise, I wouldn't be jumping too much on it. I mean, Reece James, you feel like he might find a little bit of form towards the end of the season if he's more comfortable under Frank. But I don't know. I don't know. Who would you pick?
It's too difficult, isn't it? And it's too risky in terms of picking James because he could get injured, picking Chilwell, picking Cucurella because of rotation. Frank seems to have certain players, as you mentioned, Sterling coming back in, Mount could come back in depending. So it isn't great either, from their perspective in the Premier League and from an FPL point of view as well, mate. Great point. But yeah, the last 3 results. City speaks for itself. Haaland got his 2 goals. Cracker of a goal, one of them, I think, as well, overhead or bicycle kick. Grealish in form still. De Bruyne with his 2 assists. I mean, City are pairing at the minute, aren't they, to be honest, Jack?
Yeah, City looking good form, coming in at the right time. Obviously killed it in Champions League as well during the week. Demolishing Bayern Munich 3-0, plus demolishing Southampton last week. We all knew it was going to kind of come, and they're coming at the right time, and players are coming into form as well. We've seen Grealish now 2-2, as well as 2 assists in 2 games in the Premier League. De Bruyne getting the assists as well. All the important players stepping up, and Alvarez getting on the score sheet as well. They've just got so much quality and strength and depth, and that's what the only thing they have got going for them going into this now, into the final running, that they're hoping that Arsenal maybe goes a bit, will they struggle when they go and play during game week 33? I think City have got the more generous kind of fixtures, with just the Arsenal game being the hardest one. Maybe Chelsea last game of the season, but I don't know. But Arsenal have got to go to, I'm just looking at it now in front of me, West Ham away, City away, Chelsea at home, Newcastle away, Brighton at home, ending with Forest. But I don't know.
Tough fixtures, isn't it? It's going to be difficult for Arteta to kind of get them, keeping the momentum going. We'll touch upon obviously them not getting the 3 points, last week at Anfield. But before we move to that, we've got Palace absolutely smashing
boys.
Roy Hodgson, manager bounce, and Jordan Ayew getting 2 goals. 2 goals. What's going on?
I think his record's like 1 in 3 seasons or something, isn't it? But he's a workhorse. He's played a lot of games, and he's obviously Mr. Reliable for Palace. But he's now actually stepped up, and the likes of Eze and Elise doing bits, doing big things for them. Looked cracking in there, didn't they? Nice away result for Roy, and welcome back to the Premier League for him. Liverpool, Arsenal, what a game. That was one of the best Premier League games for a while, for sure. Obviously, Arsenal going 2-0 up. Liverpool getting 2 goals back in the second half. Yeah, looking really good. We are 20 minutes out away from deadline, guys, by the way. So this is the deadline stream. You have 20 minutes to make your moves, last minute moves. Hopefully, myself and Reedy might be able to help, but you may be probably locked in your teams already and all the moves you're going to make. But Reedy, just to touch on that one, you happy with that Liverpool result? You take a point, won't you?
After going 2-0 down, within those first 30, 40.
The 8th minute going 1-0 down,
It wasn't looking good. The writing seemed to be on the wall for us, but credit to the players. They kind of pulled the finger out a bit, in terms of the goal and so on. And then I think it was one of those when Salah missed the penalty. I did think we'd get beat and not manage to get the goal. But we, as I say, some of the football. And I know you'll probably hate me saying this, but this is the reason why people fell in love with us from a couple of seasons back, when the football was being played. No matter who you are, as a neutral or any sort of fan, if you love football and you watch a team playing that type of football, it's just all go out, end to end, go at it, attacking, chances. And that's what it was. And that's the scary thing, is that we're still capable of playing like that, but it's just not physically possible every game throughout the season, and we're too inconsistent. But yeah, brilliant game, as I say. Glad we got the draw in the end. We've taken a point, or we've taken 2 points off Arsenal, I should say. And yeah, now it's now that's it. As we were saying there, City's fixtures are looking brilliant, and Arsenal have got like a tough run in, so it should be interesting. I'm hoping it does go to the wire. I don't want to see like City sort of having the title wrapped up after 3 games with 3 games to go and stuff like that. It would be a shame.
Is it Arsenal's to lose, or is it City's? Like, what do you how do you see it? Is it Arsenal being top? Is it theirs to lose?
I feel like the phrase "it's theirs to lose" comes into sort of, you'd say that when a team are like 10, 12 points ahead, maybe. They've got a good cushion. I think that 8-point gap, or whatever it's been for a little bit of time, has never ever been enough anyway. City have the game in hand, I think, or may still have the game in hand, I'm not sure. And it's never been enough.
City have got one more game, because then there'll be 3 points behind if you win.
So I don't think it's ever been a case of, it's Arsenal's to lose. I just think that we were always going to come to this point in the season. It was inevitable, and it just depended whether any games were lost up until now. And that's the first time for Arsenal that they've really kind of dropped points over the last few weeks and so on. So yeah, mate, it should be good, but we will see. But yeah, on to the next one.
On to the next. What we might do this, obviously, because there's only 20 minutes, well, less than 20 minutes left now to deadline, we might turn our kind of layout and format schedule the other way around, and we'll get into maybe preview first, and then we can chat about, obviously, after deadline, we can see what moves people have made, but then chat about where everyone's at in the league and stuff, and our winners and grinners from previous game week 30. But if we get into maybe the fixtures, let's preview this game week. So I'll just bring it up on my screen now. Here we go. So game week 31, we are kicking off this evening or this afternoon in the UK with Aston Villa versus Newcastle, as you've already said, Reedy. So what we can do, we can flick through fixtures quick, and then we can maybe look at what discussion points, assets we need to be looking at ready. If you're going to make some last minute moves, where to go, what to look at, especially as we head into even game week 32 with a lot of blanks in there too, and what players to avoid. But Villa, Newcastle, obviously you've already touched on Aston Villa, how strong they've been going. The form has been incredible. Unai Emery. What players should we be looking at maybe from these two teams, and what are these ones that we need to be bringing in? Because these both are playing game week 32, right?
Yeah. So Newcastle play Spurs at home and Villa play Brentford away. I mean, they're not the easiest fixtures, obviously, and bringing those guys in at this stage, I don't think is realistically a priority unless you may be free hitting in 32. Then you still fancy the likes of Tony or Watkins, or we're talking about mainly Villa and Newcastle. If you trust the Newcastle defence against Spurs, you maybe want to go with them or keep them if you're not free hitting. So I think at present, the form they're in and so on, I think having the likes of Watkins, having Trippier, those sort of players, it's standard really to have them too. But anyone outside of that, I'll be honest, I mean, I've got a combined 6, so I've got 3 from each. So that for me, in terms of defensively, do I ideally want to hope for a 0-0 and go, okay, I'll play things, Trippier, Burn. I've got to pick between Pope and Martinez because I've got ridiculous. Exactly, someone in my position, I've got loads. So yeah, I think I wouldn't be bringing anyone in necessarily. I think for the future game weeks, if you're considering someone maybe at Isaac for game week 36 or 7, it might be that Newcastle have the double. So, maybe at that stage. But for now, I think it's a hold whoever you've got and not necessarily bring anyone in or take anyone out.
Yeah, all right, fair enough. All wise words never been spoken. Reedy, obviously, we've got the 3 p.m. or the midnight kickoffs. On here. So Chelsea, Brighton, we've already kind of dismissed some Chelsea assets, but Brighton wise, obviously the likes of Matoma, you got Mac 10. I mean, is Mac 10 fit? Is he all right? Is he?
Well, I've noticed as well. We'll put that in from the comments from me actually saying about Lalana is back in trading, which might mean McAllister's defensive. I don't know if De Zerbi's going to change it up, to be honest, in regards to the players he's put in positions. He's had McAllister pushing forward with Gross, and Saicedo is more the holding. So I don't see that changing personally. I don't know, taking McAllister out for Grealish doesn't really make sense for me. I think I'd rather look at taking someone else out. Still think Brighton are great. They play great football. Their XG, their chances to create, is amazing. And Chelsea at the minute, we spoke about them before. They're so vulnerable. They're so bad at the minute defensively. Koulibaly, I think, might be out. They're just not great. So I think Mac 10's fine for now. I'm starting.
If he's fine, but then I think obviously Ian there, he's got all 3. He's got the triple up in Brighton midfield with Matoma and Marsh as well. So do you think if he is going to make a move, he should be making a move to make one of them move him out for Grealish? Would you be looking at rather than tripling up?
No. I think it's fine.
Keep it as is.
Fine for now. I think as well what you've got to consider is that Brighton do have doubles. If you're free hitting in 32, you probably then want to keep Brighton because they play Forest in 33. And they also play, they also have the double in 34. They've got Wolves and United as well. So I don't think it's worth taking any Brighton out in a minute. I think it's fine, as I say. There's probably other fires to put out in people's teams, and maybe someone in Ian's team that he can actually look at considering taking out.
Beautiful, mate. Everton, Fulham. I'm not going near any assets there.
I was going to say, should we just
skip that game? We'll skip that game. What's your score prediction for that one, Reedy? Obviously, I know you're a big Toffees fan.
You know what? I think Fulham without Willian, and I don't know if Willian's still banned, but I know Mitrovic obviously is.
Without Mitro, they're not doing well without Mitro, are they?
I don't know if they've got the same sort of firepower, if you like. Everton as well at home. We've seen what they can be like. I'm gonna say it's either 1-0 Everton or 1-1. I'll say.
Okay. Yeah, nice. I'm just gonna go for a 0-0. Do not watch that game. Do not pick any assets. Next up, Southampton Palace. Southampton looking good for the drop, obviously. Palace, I think Roy's gone he's had 2 games now, Roy, hasn't he? And he's won both. I think after that 5-1 thriller, they put 5 away from home. Palace, could they repeat that?
I don't see why not. I really don't. Southampton aren't the best team. I think it's one of those games yet again. I think last week we didn't expect them to thump Leeds 5-1. And because Leeds, you don't know what to expect them. They create so many chances. Leeds went away to Wolves and won 4-2. So, I mean, it's a difficult one. You could see it happening with the way he's got the players playing, but then you could see it where Southampton actually turn up. I do think it'll be something like either 2-2 or 3-2 to one of these teams. I think it'll be a high scorer.
Ward-Prowse special, maybe stepping up. They've not won in 5 games in the last 5. Southampton and obviously Palace, 2 wins out of the last 2 for Roy Hodgson. So some of the assets in there, I think Elise is like the 4th most transferred in player this game week. So a big asset to look at, or Eze maybe.
Eze is a good shout. Elise is a good shout. I think if you're not free hitting next week, and you want to have 11 players, bringing one of those guys in is not a bad idea. It just depends if you're all set in your midfield. The likes of Rashford, for example, if he's out and you're not really fussed about having him until 34 or something, that sort of thing, when you double, then Eze and Elise, it could be. They're cheap enough as well, Jack. Cheap enough to bring in.
Especially, it's like you said, like Elise, 4th most transferred in, 285k transfers in. 5.5 e-cost. Rashford is obviously that higher one. It's, I think, 7.1.
Yeah.
So, you're going to save a bit of cash. He's playing a weak, very out of form team. They've had that manager bounce. It all kind of lines up nicely, I guess, doesn't it?
Yeah. So Spurs, Bournemouth, what are we saying? Are you a Kane owner?
I'm a Kane owner. I think if you're looking at this fixture on paper and you're going, obviously, like Bournemouth have found a bit of form just recently. Gary O'Neill's doing some wonders there, isn't he? But when you go Kane to against Bournemouth, you're going, this is a great fixture. And even though I know we'll get into captains later, but he's, I wouldn't be selling Kane. If you can keep him without transferring, for the Haaland transfer, which obviously a lot of people are bringing him back in. I think even Harry Moore, who's just watching now and tuned in, he's gone, hey guys, any thoughts on Rashford, Maddison and Kane out for Haaland, Grealish and Fernandes? Like, these are a lot of moves that everyone's kind of making, aren't they? Bringing Haaland back in and taking Kane out. If you can keep both, you're flat. If you can have both, I think it's a great week to own both assets.
Yeah. Well, maybe on that aspect of things for Javi is basically, can he work a way around it where he can get Haaland in instead of getting in Fernandes, who costs about 10 mil? Move someone else out, bring Haaland. It'd be
interesting to see who else he's got in midfield that he can play for this week.
And rotate from that aspect and have Haaland and Kane, as you say. On to the next fixture, which is Wolves Brentford. We expecting a few goals from that one, or do you think it's just going to be one-way traffic?
Well, Wolves are actually looking okay. Obviously, they're not setting the world alight or anything like that, but obviously with the result against Chelsea, a bit of confidence at home now, kept a clean sheet as well. And now they're playing Brentford. Brentford obviously having defeat against Spurs. You're thinking this could be a pretty close match game. Obviously, Brentford are had an incredible season in the league. Tony obviously on form. I'm going to go, from score prediction wise, I'll probably start there. I'm going to go for a draw, but maybe a couple of goals to both teams. I think they've got good potential for. So a couple of attacking assets rather than defensive assets.
Fair dues. Yeah, I could see that being a draw as well. It's difficult because Brentford are better at home. You never know away. I'll be starting Tony in my team, I think, anyway. Yeah, I think I am. I'm benching Watkins. Oh, Jesus. It's going to be painful to know it. And then, so City-Leicester, that's the fixture that probably most people are licking the lips at. They're expecting Haaland to smash it. Grealish, KDB, whoever you've got. Captain, most people probably go Haaland. We'll talk about our captains next week. A bit later, but you can probably guess. And do we expect basically City to just tear Leicester apart, Jack?
I think so. I mean, after we spoke about the form of City, the players that are coming into form now. You obviously into now, but obviously continuing the form. Haaland been ridiculous this season. Yeah. Top player. Everyone's bringing a lot of people bringing him back into teams. I think he's going to be looking good for a couple of goals at least. Yeah. I think it's his very Leicester in turmoil. Let's put it right. Yeah. I don't think Dean Smith is the one who's going to save him. I don't think that's with respect to Dean. I'm sure he won't care if I'm saying that or not. But I don't think he's the one who's going to change the game from there. I'd rather have just kept Brendan, I think, until the end of the season. So the manager bounce won't necessarily, I don't think, affect in here. City at home, you can.
That's what I think I was going to say. Was two quick questions on that. Is do we see a manager bounce from Leicester? You've just answered that, as you said. You don't think you will. And the second one is, do we see any rotation from Pep, even though they're 3-0 up against Bayern in the Champions League? Do we think there's going to be any rotation at all from do we see Haaland being benched maybe, or do we see the likes of Grealish or KDB? Any of those guys?
I think everyone's hoping not, because I think the FPL world has spoken this week.
Been transferred in.
I think obviously we can probably quote a few transfer kind of numbers in there. You're looking at Haaland, third most transferred in player, 364k. I brought him in managers this week. Grealish is top with 865,000 managers have brought him in. So I think the FPL community are saying hopefully not. That he's going to get dropped and rotated. But I think there was I was trying to find some. There was a stat saying about obviously Haaland's minutes when he plays in the Champions League. Then he'll play obviously maybe
a portion of minutes in the games.
Yeah. He'll play some minutes in the Premier League. So there's been a bit of consistency there from Pep, and I think this fixture Haaland will be begging to play, won't he? And to go get me on there and let me smash this goals tally even more and absolutely ruin Leicester lives in the process. So Colin won't be too far away with that 9-0 prediction. I don't think on paper, on current form, based on everything that we know. So yeah, if you're still pondering that move now, can you get Haaland in? How can you get him in? And if you can you keep him with Kane up top? So for me, I'm backing Kane. Unbelievable Premier League goal scoring, consistent.
Yeah, fair dues. The other fixtures, I mean, I do want to quickly go through them, but obviously the 6 minute
goals.
Bit wary of that. I mean, I think I suppose one question is West Ham Arsenal. Do Arsenal win or not?
Listen, I think it's a difficult fixture, of course. It's got a lot of history of this game. I think there's going to be goals. I do think Arsenal are in incredible form. Our players are in incredible form. Martinelli looking unbelievable, as well as Jesus coming back into it and scoring straight away. So I think it's looking really good for Arsenal in that respect. So I think they win, and I think they do score a couple of goals convincingly against this West Ham.
On to your boys against Forest.
A couple of injuries, mate. A couple of injuries in the team. We've had
Martinez out for the season, Shaw's out, Rashford's
Martinez is out for the season. Varane a couple of games, a couple of weeks, and then Rash is out obviously for a couple of games as well. And I think this could just be obviously a bit of a tougher fixture. I think it should be a straightforward one. However, Forest obviously have been shown a bit of good form this season. And I think from a United perspective, Martial actually looked really good against Sevilla when he played as well. So I'm hoping for a United win, just probably going to be a tight one. And I think if you are gambling, Martial could be a nice little one to look at. I wouldn't be, and De Gea is obviously a good one for me if there's any assets to look at. Won't be touching any Forest assets, mind.
No. Okay, fair dues. So we expect a routine United win, just about.
I won't say routine, mate. I don't think they exist many at these years, but I think we're starting to get there, mate. Over to Leeds. I'll go for a 1-0 or a 2-1, 2-0. Like on the clean sheet because I've got the hair on. So Leeds Liverpool, mate. Leeds got smashed last week. You played 45 minutes of great football.
Yeah, Leeds got smashed. We played great football. Leeds beat us at Anfield. So
wow.
It depends how you want to look at that. And I think that, we've got a track record of turning up against the big teams, i.e. United, and then losing to Bournemouth the following week. i.e. Arsenal, albeit 2-2, we didn't win. And then, I'm going to expect us to get beat by Leeds. I hate saying that out loud, but I just feel like something will then, it's going to go wrong again. I hope I'm wrong. I hope the Salah manages to score a penalty if he gets one. His track record against Leeds and penalties is fantastic. If not, we just managed to comfortably win that game and potentially, this is why I say potentially, still be in for the top 4 race. So, yeah, I expect it to be, I'm going to say a 2-1, maybe 3-1 us. But I won't tell you what I really think it'll be because, it'll just make me depressed if I tell you what I think the actual result will be.
Fair enough. I'm going for a 1-1.
Of course.
And speaking of Liverpool, any Liverpool assets in your team, Reedy? Let's have a look at your team for this game week. Reedy's Renegades, you've got 1 minute and I'll do mine. Go.
Yeah. So basically for me, my team this week, we've got Pope and goal. I'm going for the double Newcastle defence against the Villa for the lunchtime kickoff. I don't want to go triple. It's just too risky. I've got Zinchenko and a Stupinan. I think fullbacks there who can easily get attacking returns and also clean sheets. Saka stays in. Martinelli's been the main man. But I've gone for the double Brighton and the double City. I brought, well, actually, I won't say what I brought, but this is my team, Haaland and Sony up top. If you look at the bench, I mean, there's just Villa everywhere.
True.
So I've got Mings, Burn. I mean, as I say, if it does finish 0-0 that game, I'll be devastated because, it could be a case where I've got a big hole playing Mings and Burn, but I don't think it will. With the form they're both in, I think there's goals in this game. And that's the team for me for this week, matey.
And how many points have you taken on a hit?
No hits, just Grealish.
No hits.
Grealish in
midfield is elite, by the way. Loving the midfield.
Midfield's looking naughty. I mean, I did do something last week and it didn't pay off as such. I brought in De Bruyne.
Time's up, Reedy. Nice one. Rev has done us, lads.
Silly deadline. Go on,
looking good. On my one, I've brought this week, I've Rashford out for Martinelli. He's in. And then I went Isak last week. So I brought him in for who did I bring in? I can't remember. Tony, maybe, or Watkins. And I've captained Haaland this week. But Perisic. I brought Perisic in, I think. Sorry, not that. Is that?
Perisic in?
Yeah. Oh, have I taken a -8?
Oh!
I can't actually remember. How do I find out? I can't remember. Anyway, it's over.
What do you mean? How do you find out? It shows you at the bottom. If you go on pick team, I think it shows you in the bottom on pick team.
On pick team.
Yeah, go on pick team before the website crashes. It's down at the bottom. Keep going down, all the way down, all the way.
Yeah. No, it's not. Is it there?
Transfers,
game week. Oh no. I think I've taken a -8.
He's on a minus.
I've had a mare. I think I've taken a -8.
Deadline's here, mate, just like that. -8. All right, on deadline. He's realised. He's devastated. And guess what? With that, Reedy's in front of Jack already. The game started. I was 7 points behind. I think 7 points behind.
Oh no!
Now I've caught up, haven't I? Look, it's just so happens. I can't even get onto the league table to have a look. But
I'll have a look on. Let me have a look on FPL Gameweek, and I'll see what. Oh, Jack, what have you done?
Here we go, brilliant. Has Jack made more transfers?
Got to stop, aren't I?
Rev as well with his transfer. He went Rashford.
He went Rashford. I think that was a straightforward one to make. Obviously with Rashford missing, he's obviously not going to be playing until game week 33 or whatever. So I think him taking out, smart move. Who did I take out then? I probably just need to double check who I took out. Maybe Botman. No.
I love Crazy Peter's question. Who do you think is going to win Bradford versus Rochdale?
Big game. It's a big game.
Huge game. But yeah, mate, you've I don't know what you've done there, Jack, to be honest. What was the -8 for? I'm lost for a minute. The deadline chaos.
I can't get my team, can I? Can't see. So I think what I've done, I had Martinelli in for Rashford. I must have had Tony, so I took him out for Isak. And then my third one, I obviously had Perisic, but I must have made that one early and just totally forgot. Do you know what happens on the app? When you're making your transfers, it doesn't. If you do them on different days, it doesn't tell you if that's going to be a -4 or a -8. Do you know what I mean?
Really?
if you're on the app, right, and you've made a transfer, say on the Monday or whatever, and you jump on the Wednesday, if you make another move.
Oh, you mean it just tells you it's a -4? So it's just, it basically doesn't say, oh, it's a -8. It just says -4. It just basically.
No, it doesn't say that. It just says it says you've got no transfers, right? So if you've got no transfers, you go, right, okay, well, this one must be -4. But then if I jump in it again on the Friday or the next day or whatever, or later on, it doesn't say it's a -8, that move.
That's what I'm saying. It doesn't accumulate.
Yeah, it doesn't accumulate. It just says you've got no transfers and you can make your move. But I could take 5 by then.
Oh my god!
Anyway, so there you go.
You can't even check your thing on Game Week, FPL Game Week, no.
I've just put it up now, so I'm just going to podcast lead just because it's got a small one, and then see. So on that one, extended view. Someone, oh no, it doesn't say yet. It's not come up with a total for the week. Yeah, it's all frozen. Anyway, so all we know is that, that's correct, Rev. See, it doesn't say it's your second -4, correct? That's exactly right. So I've obviously gone, now I'll make another move because I think it is my next one. So I've taken a -8. Never mind. Reedy, you had one transfer.
Yeah.
2 moves. Yeah, one transfer. So you've done yours. So you're buzzing now because now you've now gone ahead of me. Hopefully my moves are worth it.
Yeah, but I mean, like, did you say you brought Perisic in as well?
Brought Perisic, Isaac, and Martinelli.
Wow. You've made some bold moves. So basically, your 3 moves.
Listen, I don't mind it, right? I don't mind it. I'll take it. It is what it is. Yeah. Not ideal, but I'm happy with it because they are good moves. I think they are good moves. I like Tottenham against Bournemouth. Should be a clean sheet. Should be. Hopefully, Perisic is in the mix, helping out Kane score the goals. Happy days, or both. Yeah, and then Martinelli on fire. So excited for that one to see what can happen against West Ham. And then Isaac, obviously a bit of a gamble, but he's looking really good. Perisic in.
I brought Perisic in at one point in the season, and it's one of the worst moves I ever made, ever. So,
Well, listen, but I think that's the Reedy curse.
Oh, you think it's gone now? You think he's going to
gone? Got an assist last week, flying, mate.
Yeah. But
Conte's gone. Conte's gone. So happy days, right? Everyone's pie. Right. Okay. So, what we will mention just while I'm trying to have a breather and take my mind off the -8 that I've taken by accident. I'm just going to just touch on how performance went in our leagues. So how the managers went. So and a bit of an update on who's top of the ladder. So manager of the week. We will mention Reedy, game week 29. Reedy, how many points did you get game week 29? Because obviously I can't see the league now. But I know you actually smashed it.
148 I managed to
148 get. On your bench boost, obviously incredible. So well done. I want to give you a mention on that one. So you've done well in there, mate. And then the manager of the week for game week 30 was Paul Brown, 76 points. Well done, mate. Congrats for you. But in the first place in the members league, Matt McKay stays top on 2,026 points. So he is still flying, still top of the league. Congrats, Matt. I think he's been 10, 12 weeks top of the league now. In the public league, Thomas Yates has flown to the top with 2,054 points. And the women's still for the whole season pretty much is Mira with 2,039. Well done. And finally in the members league head-to-head, which is 16 managers, head-to-head, Donald Breslin is still top there with 65 points. So not huge changes in the members league, but well done to you guys for your performance in there. Stephen, what is going on, mate? You're going Harvey Barnes out to bring in. You've missed the deadline, mate. What's going on? He's making moves for the game week 32. So he jumped on our stream instead of jumping on the Premier League app.
Oh no! I was going to bring up
spitting out William, Elise, Billing, or Gakpo. Listen, if there's a guy who has more balls than me making moves, is this guy.
I love it, Stephen. I love
it. Crack one of these open, mate, and jump on it. You're all good, mate. Never mind, Stephen. Don't make any moves to game week 32 yet, mate. You don't want to bring someone who's blanking. And obviously, Colin recognising that one. Colin actually throwing out there as Jack and Reedy morphed into each other with all the hits. Yeah, definitely not. Bloody hell. The hitman still got about 400 moves on me.
Yeah. Well, maybe not that many. You were catching up to me now with that -8.
Yeah, I know.
Brilliant. But 11 o'clock deadlines caught Stephen out. Unfortunately, there, mate. But
Stephen, would love to know what your team looks like going into this game week. Then does that mean you've not changed anything and you haven't made any moves, or were you looking for an extra one? Were you going to take a hit? So let us know where you're at in there. Just to reiterate, like we had obviously bonus bank for game week 31 with a fantasy fantasy football tool. They created this just to have a look, to showcase who's maybe get a clean sheet, best probabilities, and best first ones to score. But they said Tottenham with a 41% chance of clean sheet. I like the sound of that, obviously. 41% chance. Arsenal clean sheet, 41% chance. I've got Ben White in there. Have you got any Arsenal assets in defence, Reedy?
Yes, Zinchenko,
yeah, nice. And then 54% chance for City. Any City defensive assets? I've got none in
there. No, City. What? Say that again.
For clean sheet, 54% chance.
No
City.
Right, okay.
Goalkeeper, defenders, no.
Nah. Too much rotation, and I think as well.
I feel like he's got his back four now. He's got obviously Stones kind of right back going into centre mid, hasn't he now? Because Kyle Walker, he obviously slagged Kyle Walker off. I think when you can't play that, John Stones can. So he's gone into that one. So I feel like John Stones might be a good one to bring in. We know what he can do in FPL as well.
Yeah, potentially. I think it's just the more attractive moves seem to be.
Yeah, it's not sexy, is it? It's not a sexy move, that.
No, it's not. And I don't know. I think a lot of the difficult thing is, especially if you're bench boosted, not bench boosting you could free it, or if you've got your bench boost left for 34, is basically having Newcastle defence against Southampton.
Yeah,
you'd expect them to keep a clean sheet, so it's quite tricky in that respect. If you play in a back three, there's not much room for a City defender, is there? To be honest.
No, you're right. I think obviously looking at players to score probabilities. So in third place, Harry Kane, loving that one. City asset Alvarez second with 50% chance, and then Haaland with a 68.2% chance of scoring. So thanks to the bonus bank for providing those probabilities. Elsewhere, the FPL Rev spending more time on the YouTube rather than being on the pod. He's gone. He's on Gabriel.
Where are you, Rev? Where are you?
You're on Zinchenko, and I'm on White. It's Arsenal roulette. Yeah, so we'll see who gets that. Right. Oh, it's Rev starting Chilwell.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think about
that? I don't know. I mean, I think why not? To be honest, Lampard could start him. You just don't know. You got that red in the Champions League midweek, didn't he? So it depends if Lampard's thought, do you know what? I'm going to give Cooper Miller a go.
He loves him, doesn't he? He does love him.
So we'll see. But I mean, as I say, if you've got to start him, it's not necessarily the worst thing in the world. It's just that Chelsea are a bit crap at the moment.
Nice, very, very polite of you. There we go. FPL
keeps on going with Stephen and blaming that on my missus. And 2 transfer in the bankers. Oh no! So he's burnt one.
No,
he's burnt one. Team has enough to fill the game week, but next week could have done with transfer. Oh,
FPL eyes. What have you been doing all week?
God. It's one of those, isn't it?
Listen, we've all been there.
Blame the missus.
Busy week at work, whatever.
We'll let him have. Yeah, we'll let him have that. You can blame the missus. You've got to blame it on someone, haven't you, Jack? So, I suppose.
Yeah, mate. To be fair, I wish I'd one of his moves because obviously I made too many and he's not made any.
You forgot how many you've made, and Stephen's not made
smashing out transfers left, right, and centre. Like it's FIFA or Football Manager or something, making moves.
Yeah, but I don't know. I mean, like in terms of, as you said about the stats there, and looking at the clean sheet probabilities and the score probabilities, I think that's to say it's full of City because of that fixture against Leicester, and Tottenham as well. As you say, with a clean sheet. But what I will say is that it definitely makes a difference that Tottenham are at home rather than at Bournemouth. Because I'd definitely be saying Bournemouth for getting a goal then. But yeah, it should be a clean sheet. Just want to mention as well, like you were saying about transfers, most top transfers in this week and so on.
Yeah.
You were saying Grealish was one, Martinelli, Haaland, those sort of players.
Yeah.
Were you not tempted by Grealish? No?
I've already got him.
Oh, you've got him already? Oh, okay.
Yeah, I brought him in last week. Took a hit for him. Took a hit again last week for him.
Oh my God, mate, you're right. You feeling okay,
mate? It's that time of the season. You smashed out that 140. I thought, here we go. Really switched on now. he's Billy Big Balls over here.
Yeah.
Coming from behind, chasing up the table. So yeah, it's game on in it. So we've got to see. Yeah, we've got to see where we've got to make a few gambles, haven't you?
That's I suppose. Yeah,
Got to make
why
a few
not?
Gambles. You're in a bit of form, so
yeah. What's I was about to say? What's funny is actually none of us have got any Liverpool players. Have you got Salah?
No, I took Salah out a couple of weeks ago. I think. I thought that obviously it was just frustrating, wasn't it? Frustrating with Liverpool assets this season. You don't know what's going to turn up. So I think Salah was obviously a big move for a lot of people this week. It wasn't on my radar really. I presume a lot of people have brought him in.
Yeah, Salah will have been brought in, I think, this week, Liverpool asset, especially because we play in 32 next week against Forest. And I think, people even considering Gakpo or Nunes. But I just don't know with all these players being fit. And I think Diaz now, it's been mentioned by Klopp, is back in the squad in normal training. So I think he's going to integrate him in slowly. And, we could see him get some minutes against Leeds and then maybe start against Forest. So, you've got the likes of Gakpo, Diaz, Jota, and Nunes that can all play on the left. You know what I mean? And two of those out of those three, maybe even three of them can play in that central role as well.
You've got too many attacking players, haven't you?
There's too many.
Some midfielders, mate.
We do 100%. But Thiago's back now, so that's always a positive. And I think as well, in terms of transferring out, Rashford, Shaw, Maddison, would you have basically
top three, yeah.
Would you have moved? I know we've done it anyway. We've moved Rashford out, but would you just say that? Do you not think there's a chance that they'll be back for? Was it 33?
Yeah, it'll be 33. I think Rashford will be back for 33. I presume Shaw will be as well. I feel like that's been. Yeah, it'll happen. We'll need them on the running if they're 80% fit. So I think they'll play regardless. I think Maddison. With this manager battle, I don't think it's going to be a manager battle personally. It's just an uphill battle for Leicester. So Maddison going out, I understand that one. And with Shaw and Rashford, 1.6 million brought him out. So he was highly owned, obviously. I think it's a good move taking him out just the next couple of weeks.
So if you were in the situation though where you have Maddison and he wasn't a priority move out, there was other fires say you had to put out because of injuries and stuff like that.
Like Rashford or Shaw.
Yeah, example. Would you have benched Maddison against City or would you have played him? Say, for example, you had 3 players to pick from that you could have played, right, in your team. And you'd have said, right, okay, it's this person, and then Maddison. Regardless of Maddison playing City, would you have still picked him because he could potentially get a return?
Yeah, listen, I think if you've got other fights to play out, then what can you do?
And I think that's it. He's 8 million, isn't he? Putting an 8 million player on your bench, it doesn't sit well with me anyway. But some of the people don't mind it really. I think he can still do a job, can't he? He can go out and get a set piece as well, and a moment of brilliance, which is what he's all about. Maddison, he's an exciting player. Just you don't know what's going to happen with Leicester. So if you could get him out, great. If you couldn't, and you have to deal with him, I don't think it's the worst one to do. He's having a nightmare here, isn't he? FPL eyes. Stephen is raging right now, and I love it. I absolutely love it.
So
he's raging.
FPL eyes, Stephen McDonald's fault. It's the missus' fault. Booking Ubers for my mother-in-law instead of vital FPL transfers. I reckon it'll be a funny week anyway. I see City starting with Alvarez and Haaland. Drop Bernardo. It's not good. It's not a bad shout, is it? Bernardo starting in the Champions League, but not in the Premier League against Southampton. He's gone. I've spent $19.46 on an Uber to ruin my FPL weekend. And Pavel in his Toyota Yaris better enjoy his fare.
I'm glad we kind of, we got so close to the deadline because it just turned into absolute chaos.
It's a bit of carnage, that one. It me realise now how much I've spent. Stephen logging in at 8:01 past the deadline. Obviously, Colm, who joins us every week, and big fan. Thanks again, Colm, for your comments in this podcast as usual. Salah's record against Leeds was the main reason he brought him in. So he's done a bit of research there. He's on a free hit 32, wild card 33, and bench boost 34. Get all them chips out, mate. Nice work.
thinking of as well. Wildcard 33, bench boost 34.
Yeah, obviously I haven't got my free hit. I've used that one, but my wildcard, I was thinking 33 because I think my team now, after all these hits that I've taken, I'm all right for 32 now, and I just need to do a goalkeeper change. That's my only one I've fired it out because I've got Ward as my second keeper. But yeah, 33 looking for wildcard, and then bench boost 34. Yeah, that's right. Just so I can make the most of these points and try and stay above you, Reedy.
There we go. That's it. It's that bench boost for 34. I forgot you were. I had in my head that you were doing a free hit, but now when I'm thinking about it, you were talking about bench boost and getting those extra points.
Yeah, that's what I was saying before we went live.
Yeah.
I was saying that was my strategy. Cause I think obviously with all them fixtures in 34, it's if I get it right, obviously, then it's getting those points on the bench are going to be looking good. Bringing some Aston Villa inspired moves maybe like you did.
Yeah, you never know, mate. You never know. But
you're frothing about them still, aren't you? You're buzzing about them.
You know what? I was gutted as well when they conceded in the second fixture. I can't remember who they played now, Villa, and I was just like, oh, you know what? Like, why did they have to go and concede? I think as well with Newcastle. I think in their second fixture, it was a Pope mistake that made them concede. I think they still went and won. But I was just like that. Oh, God's sake, could have been more points. But hello to John, who's joined us there. FPL Sparta, absolute legend. Came down
John. Go on, John.
In Leeds.
John, what moves have you made, mate? What moves?
Let us know. All the way from Scotland, this lad. So
Bonnie.
But speaking of Scotland, I was out in Liverpool on would have been Thursday. Met a few guys from Scotland, Celtic and Rangers fans.
Here we go.
There we go. Concert Square, Concert Square. You know that how it goes, Jack, from back in the day.
Concert Square.
Yeah, and so I met this lad on holiday when we went on a family holiday, and went down to meet them, had a couple of drinks. Oh my!
You were in Blackpool for the holiday, were you, mate? With all Scottish.
No, it was Spain. But yeah, this was in Liverpool when I met them the other day. They were going the races yesterday, actually, to Ladies' Day. So yeah, it was great crack. But they all just banter each other, with them being Celtic and Rangers. And what I found was it's completely different to with Liverpool and Everton fans. And I think that the rivalry is probably a lot stronger between Liverpool and United fans these days. I think it's just the fact that Everton know they're rubbish. Sorry, Rev, if you're still watching, but there we go. John's dipped in and he said Rashford
to Grealish. Yeah, nice.
Same move as me. No hits, John.
Good move,
mate.
I think Grealish or Martinelli. I think they're the ones for that straightforward move, right? And then if you gamble in that Elise one.
Yeah. I think as well, do you think the way I've done my bench, I've done Watkins, Burn, Mings. Do you think having Watkins as the first sub is the right move?
I think so. I think I've learned my lesson with putting. I think you've always got to do your attacking assets in that as first sub. I think when I've done sometimes I've messed up in the past putting the defensive asset and you've just gone, I've not put my attacking one. They've come on and scored, or they're going to create a chance, aren't they? Because if a defender comes on as a sub. A striker potentially. You're probably benching the striker because they've got a bad fixture or they could maybe potentially dropped. So then, if they're going to come on and make an impact as a sub, great. But then, if you're going to come on, if they start and they're playing a difficult fixture, there's always a chance, isn't there, that they're going to get a goal.
Yeah, and I think that's it, isn't it? I put him there just in case someone else doesn't start somewhere and he goes and scores against Newcastle in the lunchtime fixture. But we'll see. We will see. The last thing I need is the 0-0.
There could be goals, yeah. There should be. I feel like there will be goals. Newcastle scoring freely, Villa in form. Goals, no? Sure.
Yeah. Could this be the one where you think that Villa? Imagine we get a shock win from Villa, and Newcastle's top four. Oh, it's a big game, really.
Is it a shock win if they win now?
Or who, Villa?
Yeah, is it a shock win if they win?
I don't think so. No, I don't because the form. Both teams are in, but I think that's what I mean. I think Villa
it's a shock win.
Villa are in 6th, right? And they're on 47. So if they beat Newcastle today, they'll go to 50. Newcastle would then only be 6 points ahead of them. It's actually that close, and that's scary that Villa are kind of in that position.
Frightening behaviour. Newcastle 5 wins in the last 5. Villa 4 wins in the last 5 and a draw. Form's incredible, right?
Yeah, that's what I mean. I think it's a fantastic game. It could be an absolutely great game. I think if it was at Newcastle, with their home record, obviously they were great against you guys, kept a clean sheet, and just the crowd. It's different when it's at St James's, but the fact that it's at Villa, could play a part in that respect for the home advantage for Villa. But who would you prefer to win, Newcastle, Villa? I think actually a Villa win would be better for United, wouldn't it?
Yeah, in terms of real world.
If you then went and beat Forest, you'd go above them.
Yeah, Villa win. I'll be champion today versus Newcastle. Never want Newcastle to win anyway, mate. Come on. From the days Kevin Keegan trying to burn us. So I think, Villa win, looking strong in there. Just a weird team, Villa, though. I can't believe he's got them playing and winning. I know they've got a good squad on paper.
Yeah.
Based on, obviously, previous kind of season stuff. But it's just like Watkins, I feel like Watkins is carrying. Like Leon Bailey's not doing incredible things, is he? John McGinn's obviously strong in the core. Ramsey's looking good. Buendia's done bits recently. But then defensively, Moreno left back's a good addition. He's done well. Looks a lot more solid.
Mings has been solid with Martinez, but that's the thing. I think it just goes to show how much confidence and morale and a good manager what it can do for players that maybe aren't quite at the top level, if you like compared to United's, Arsenal, Cities, and Liverpool's and so on. But I think the likes of Ramsey, the young kid Ramsey, I'm not sure how old he is, but I feel like whenever he plays, Villa are better. I always feel like that.
He's in good. He's in good form, man. He's looking good.
Yeah, but mate. What should we do? Should we wrap up? I think we're pretty much covered everything. What we need.
That's a wrap. We can't get on FPL because obviously we're kicked out. So
you're dying to get on, aren't you?
I just want to see what the damage is.
You're dying to get on. Okay, so this is what it's looking like for this week.
But captain pick wise is Haaland was the one, wasn't he? So vice captain.
He was for me. I hope you remembered that you've to put up the right guy.
I did have Kane before we went live. I had Kane as my captain.
Ooh.
But I'm pretty sure I did make the move and save the team when I was flicking through. So I'm presuming Haaland is my captain.
Who's your vice?
Yeah, Kane.
Oh, it is Kane. Okay.
So on FPL Gameweek, it currently says Kane is my captain, but it's not.
Oh no. Oh no!
But I still would, even if I did accidentally leave it on there, I wouldn't actually mind it because I think he can do it.
Well, Colm disagrees.
So he's entitled to his opinion. That's fine. He might more than likely score. Listen, if he scores and he's captain, happy days. If he scores and he's not captain, happy days.
But this is the thing this season with Kane. 9 times out of 10, whenever he scores, he still manages to get the bonus, even if it's one goal. You know what I mean? He could get a yellow as well. He managed to get bonus. I mean, but so it's as you say, it's not the worst thing in the world.
How good's this one from Colm? Jack checking FPL later. A minus bonus. It's honestly, it could be likely if I've read it right. Oh my god.
You never know, but you're hoping not anyway.
Well, you're hoping I've boy messed up there.
Oh, it'd be unbelievable, Jeff. But nah.
When FPL do these updates, the survey, I think that's something I've got to feed back and go, can you please show on your team on the mobile app how many transfers you've made, or if it's gonna accumulate.
Well, I think on the desktop, you had a look there, and it shows you at the bottom, doesn't it? I mean, obviously, when the deadline goes, you can't get on it and you can't see it. But from that respect, if you use desktop anyway, then you're going to be able to see.
Come on, mate. It's 2023. Everyone uses mobile. Come on.
Yeah, but you should also remember how many moves you've made. Surely, come on.
Yeah, well, this is what I need. It's what technology's there for, isn't it? But anyway. I think, read it, listen, it's been a pleasure. Thank you, everyone, for joining in today. If you've loved today's podcast, please make sure you hit the like and subscribe, and make sure you turn those notifications on. And if you're listening on podcast, please do give us a subscribe on there as well. Leave us a quick review and a rating. It does certainly help more people to listen to the nonsense and have a bit of banter along the podcast. But that does bring us to the end. The deadline stream, a preview show for Game Week 31. Obviously, kick off in an hour for that first game, Newcastle and Villa. It's going to be an exciting one. And keep an eye out for some more updates as we go along on our channels, YouTube, and Instagram at FPL Addicts Pod and Twitter at FPL Addicts Pod. If you have hope you have a belt of a weekend and green arrows for 31. Read it, legend. Thanks for joining us today, mate, and hope you have a great weekend. And listen, we'll chat to you next time.
See you later.